Hi, everybody. I'm reading again from my book, Transforming Suffering into Wisdom. We have been looking at three intentions that accomplish this transformation. The first intention is to be in the present moment, to live in the present moment. The second intention is to pull the plug on the self. And the third intention is to be fearless and forgiving in the midst of suffering. We're just entering upon that portion of the book that is about this third intention. And yesterday I read one quote from William Blake. And there are three quotes that start the chapter. I'm going to read the second quote today, but the quote I read yesterday was, in heaven, the only art of living is forgetting and forgiving. From William Blake. Yesterday I showed you images from Blake's great works, images because he was not only an incredible poet, but he was a phenomenal artist as well. And what his passion was to do essentially his version of illuminated manuscripts, which has also been a passion of mine and for many years. And in fact, at present, I'm working on 4 more. The only one I've done so far, I did about 10 years ago, and it's called A Song for Hana. And this poem I'm going to read comes from that book. I'm going to read you 2 versions of my best poems. I often have a couple of versions because they all feel right to me. I'm going to pull over another book for you. This is A Song for Hana and the spirit of Lehaula. Lehaula was a beach that I walked to, and my passion, and for years I walked to it every morning and did a spiritual practice, walking back and forth along the beach. My practice, even then, was primarily about the present moment, about meeting the present moment, about finding it, about experiencing it, challenging myself to let go of my thoughts of self, to be fearless and forgiving in the midst of suffering, certainly, but again and again to find the present moment. And the Lehaula is actually the name of a beach, and it's a kind of a hidden beach. It's not easy to access in Hana, Maui, where I've spent portions of every year for the past 25, 30 years. So the poem actually takes place right at the center of my practice, maybe a little bit more than halfway into the book. I'm actually at the beach. I've arrived at the beach. And it's called, I'm going to read it in this version from, and there you have it. There's my illuminated manuscript is filled with images, with photography that I've done, and with poetry as well. Tremendous debt I owe to William Blake. Searching the sea for a moment of time. I catch so many moments of guilt, of fear, of shame, as I walk across the sand. A warrior catching arrows of delight. I place them in my quiver and watch the waters, searching for my prey. Here's a slightly altered version. The second quotation that I have in this chapter, starting off the whole third intention of being fearless and forgiving in the midst of suffering. And you can see this fearlessness in this particular quote. Searching the sea for moments of time. I catch so many moments of guilt, of fear, of shame, as I walk across the sand, like a warrior catching arrows of delight. I place them in my quiver and search out across the waters, roiling at my ankles for my prey. I love this notion of catching arrows of delight and placing them in my quiver, of the activity of that, and the accomplishment of it as a skill. In this third intention of being fearless and forgiving in the midst of suffering, one of the things we learn is that each of these moments of suffering can be broken into thoughts and into feelings. And that's why we have Blake's quote about both forgetting and forgiving. And here what's happening is that we are looking for those moments and recognizing that what's most valuable is actually the feelings themselves. So rather than running from the feelings, there's a sense of great intrigue around the feelings, that they have enormous value if we can catch them as moments of time rather than be caught by them, twisted through some stories that keep us, that capture the I, me and my thoughts, and get us lost.